Is it cheaper to run hydro or to run in soil? Now there's two sides of this. I prefer hydro, and I'm going to say that it's probably a little bit cheaper. But others are going to say the opposite. The main reason is you got an initial startup. The Hydro Unlimited system I have back here is like $650 for 4 buckets. It's an RDWC, but you can get other deep water culture or RDWCs for like $100, sometimes even cheaper if you look at like Vevor or something. But generally you're going to have $100 to $200 or so into your 4-pot system. Another cheap hydroponic system would be the auto pots I have over here that work well. I believe they're $100 for a 2-pot system. But after you get that initial cost of setup and everything, it's cheaper. You're going to use less nutrients, you're going to use less water, it's less maintenance in my opinion. Just adding the nutrients to the hydro systems, usually they call for lower doses just because it's always right there at the roots. And then on top of that, I only feed my plants once a week in my hydro. I put the nutrients in there the one time a week, and the rest of the week it's just getting water topped off, or it has a float valve where it keeps the buckets full of water. With soil, you're feeding those plants every 2-3 days every time you water. And nutrients over time, they add up. So if 1 week you're using 3 times or more the nutrients in your soil compared to my hydroponics, it's going to set you up with cost. My RDWC back here, the hydro buckets, does need electric for the pump. So I do have to do that. With the auto pots, I don't have to have any electric for the pump. It's gravity fed. But besides that cost for hydroponics to set up or whatever, there's no more cost there. Everything else will be less. Less water, less nutrients. It's just less. But there's also other costs like pest prevention or pests. You generally have less pests with hydro, as with my hydro buckets. This is the hydro buckets, and usually the pests need soil. They need algae and stuff wants light to the roots, stuff like that. With this collar and this tub or whatever, you have no light, there's no bugs in here, there's less pests. And then of course, hydro usually grows faster, bigger plants with more yield. And taste and potency is gonna be right there with soil. But watch, someone's gonna be in the comments talking about that. Oh, you don't Google it. I know people say don't trust Google and whatnot, but it's all gonna be close to the same, unless you're like someone that's gonna be like into it and to know the fine points of taste and whatever. No one's gonna care. To me, they're pretty close to the same taste, if you can even notice the difference.